Hello there, my love. Do not mind the boot. It's on my desk. I will tell you all about it at the end of the video if you are curious. For now, I have a message that I really think I have to share with you. So at 11-ish, I wrote down 11 something a.m. because at 11 something a.m. I got the urge to write. And I'm like, okay, get my journal, let's journal. But the message, what I was writing, very quickly pivoted from being something I am consciously writing to being like very automatic. And as I was writing it, there was like 3 trains of thought going at the same time. One was like the words, like I felt the words pass through my thoughts. You know, like I could register every word as I was writing it down, you know? Like, ever tell anyone, you know? But I wasn't consciously constructing it. And then the other train of thought was thinking about how easy this is just flowing and how I'm not really thinking of these words. And then the other train of thought was going, well, if it is this easy, it is probably something I should share as well. Just as is, don't try to make it into anything, just share it. And so I'm going to read for you what I wrote. And I do believe this is a message. And if you found this, I very strongly believe it is for you. Use your discernment, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I'm just gonna read for you, okay? And then if I have any commentary, I will add it, / if I receive any comments from Spirit, I will let you know. For now, here we go. 11 something a.m. I just signed a soul contract. I have just been calibrated. The weight of God is no longer on my shoulders, and the power of actor is back in my hands. If we cannot commit to the story because we don't have that kind of power over external happenings, then we must commit to the truth of character. My character is defined at the core. I have gone deep enough for that to be true. The deal is, I act out the story. The universe and its creator lines up the plot points. I always react in character. A well-rounded character contains multitudes and is allowed to contradict themselves. They get emotional when the scene calls for it. Sad when there's reason to be sad, and happy when there's reason to be happy, and angry when there's reason to be angry, and when their reactions don't match the actual situation, we know it's about some bigger mystery that will also inevitably be revealed. If life is a game, or the best way to live life is to view it as a game, and we get to choose which game we are playing, I choose divine improv. I tried a few different ways, and this is by far the most fun one to play. It goes like this. You state your character. You can literally write out a character sheet for yourself, the kind that a lot of fiction writers use when they are developing characters. And this sheet lists your core beliefs and strengths and weaknesses and traumas and triggers and some defining personality traits. Then, very important, you give your character a secret mission that they can never ever tell anyone else the details of. This can be anything from keeping a detailed daily journal, to building a rocket ship, to learning a language, to always taking every bug they see inside, outside. It really doesn't matter what it is, and it doesn't have to be one big thing. It can change every year if you want. The important thing is that you have a secret mission that nobody else knows about. This gives you an internal and consistent trigger for getting dopamine. It creates a sense of drive within you. If you have your character defined and you have your secret mission, now you just need your cover story. What is your cover story in the game of divine improv? It is your daily life. Of course. It is everything you do that allows you to work on your secret mission. This means you don't need people to be deserving before you can be good if your character is good. Because your character is good because of something internal, because of the drive to complete the secret mission. So if your secret mission is to write a book and your character is a good character who takes care of everyone around them, then you can skip the part where the caretaker gets resentful because they feel unappreciated or like their efforts are never reciprocated, because for this character, making sure everyone is taken care of is what affords them the freedom of time and peace of mind to focus on their book. When they are with friends, they don't resent them and think, I wish I could be writing right now, because they understand that being present with people in everyday moments means they get to enjoy healthy and mutually beneficial relationships, which in turn regulates their nervous system and allows them to focus on their plotline with greater clarity, longer sustained. They become like a sleeper agent, unbothered by small inconveniences, since they are merely acting out a cover story instead of actively reacting to the situation. And also, at the same time, very aware of the present moment, because they need to be in order to ensure everything plays out in such a way that they can still return to their secret mission afterwards. This is where the game of divine improv is key. It is not possible for one character to ensure that absolutely everything plays out perfectly. However, if you have clearly defined your character, and you have committed to always react in character, then guess what? When I wrote guess what, I knew I am writing this to share it, because I would not ask myself guess what. Guess what? That means you've got a role that means something. You're not just a background character that is reacting to the stuff around them. You have a storyline of your own. You cannot be a clearly defined character and not have gone through your own development, which means somebody cared enough to develop you. Whether you think that was the divine or you yourself really doesn't matter. I'm pointing out the fact there was intent. There had to have been, otherwise you wouldn't be as much of a character as you are. And where there is intent, there is also always a need or a want that it is intending to solve. Is it obvious where I'm going with this? Another question I wouldn't ask myself. If you are here and having thoughts this complex, you must be here for a reason. No complex character exists without reason. If you are here for a reason, that means things have already conspired for you to become who you are, and things will keep conspiring because you are still here, which means you are still needed for the narrative. All you have to do is keep reacting to everything in character. You got this role because you played best, and nobody else can play your part because your lines are written in your nervous system and the fabric of your DNA. This role was made for you, and you were made for it. You cannot control what happens. That's God/the director lining up the universe/the plot points so that your scenes can happen, make sense, and have an impact. You just have to stop reacting. You just have to keep, it says keep. You just have to keep reacting in character. And don't tell anybody about your secret mission. That hole you feel it burning in your pocket, that's the charge behind your drive. Protect it. So, I have a lot of thoughts on that, but I don't think I'm going to share them. I think I'm just going to let this... That's all that wanted to be written when I was writing. So, I'm just going to share it as is like that. And, well, you can tell me if you want what it means for you, or what it doesn't. That's all up to you. My character just shares this one, I think. I would say I'm not going to try to interpret it, but it's not that I'm not going to try to interpret it. It's more like I don't know in what other words to say it. I feel like it is pretty protected. I feel like it is pretty protected against misinterpretation by definition, just as it exists. I know you're gonna get what you had to have gotten from this. Otherwise, you would not have had this as a plot point in your storyline. Fun stuff happening all around. I'm keeping on. Also keeping on this boot. Look at it. Okay, anyways, it's a cam walker or a moon boot. This is my foot x-rays. So actually, if you want to know, if you're curious, what happened is I thought the foot was fine. I got anti-inflammatory medication and whatnot, but then I could not put any weight on it. It was so unstable. It was so, like, it just buckled. Not even buckled, like I couldn't even, my knee didn't even want to bend in the way that would cause the weight to roll to the front of my foot and not be on my heel. So I couldn't put any weight on it, couldn't even try to see just how much it hurts because it didn't even give me an option to hurt. And I went to the doctor, got x-rays. The x-rays showed all clear. The report shows all clear. And so I got some anti-inflammation medication. And I also have like a broken, like an open skin wound on the foot. So I got some things to fight infection, both a pill and an ointment. And it hurt a lot. Like that night I could barely sleep and I woke up 3 or 4 times from the pain, and it felt like bone pain, not skin pain. So I looked at the x-rays again, and on like the 5th metatarsal, which is on like my pinky bone, you know, where the pinky connects to the ankle, on the x-ray, if I zoom in with my phone on the x-ray and take a photo and then zoom in on the photo, there's a part where you can see the edge clearly, like, be like that. You know, like it's supposed to be smooth, but then there's just one part where it's like that. Very, very, very tiny, but you can see it if you zoom in far enough. And then if you trace that edge that overlaps a little bit, it makes like a crack all the way through to, like, it looks like it goes almost beyond just the bone and almost into the joint place. I'll put an image on screen if you can see what I'm talking about. So I saw that and I was like, but this is something, right? This isn't normal. That's definitely the cause of my pain. So we went back to the doctor. And I was like, listen, the pain didn't make sense. I'm usually very good with pain. So I felt like this had to be something more. And I went looking for it and I saw this thing. Now I know you said these kinds of injuries usually causes the bone to fracture near the top of the toes. So perhaps the people that wrote up the report, because the x-rays weren't done by the doctor, they were done at the hospital. Anyways, I was like, maybe those people just missed it because it's so low. It's so like at the bottom down here. And so I showed her what I meant. And lovely doctor. Honestly, I have just good things to say about her. She said, no, that's not a fracture, because if it's a fracture, it will be visible on from every angle. And it's only on this one you can see it. And I was like, well, there's 2 you can kind of see it on. But I get what you're saying. There's not like a solid, like it's not very obvious when you look at it, you know? And I was like, but there is something, right? Like this is something. The placement makes sense and there is something. And so I'm pointing it out to her. And she's like, no, so that's not a fracture at all. Let's pull it up on the screen. She pulled up her copies on the computer and she was showing to me, so like that part right there, and she was showing to a white part. And I was like, no, not the white part, just above it. If you can see the little chip at the end, then you can follow in the crack. And then when I showed her on my phone, because on the screen, on her screen, you couldn't see it. It looked completely smooth. You couldn't even see the chip, but that's because it didn't go that fine. that zoomed in or whatever. And so I showed her on my phone and I was like, yeah, so not the white above it. And I explained to her, and she was very patient, actually hearing me out, which was nice. And she said, oh yeah, she does see what I'm talking about. And she looked again on the computer x-rays and she zoomed in and you cannot see any of that, not even like a little chip on the x-ray, on the computer screen. So she was like, okay, obviously the resolution on your phone is a bit better or different or whatever. And she was like, but I do see it, so what I can do is I can send you for an MRI, because there are injuries of the bone that don't show up on x-rays so well, but they would show up on an MRI. But looking at this one and how it's placed, an MRI costs like 12,000 Rand. And the treatment is still the same. It's still moon boot, because the fracture or the bone isn't moved, you know, it just needs time to knit itself back together, so to speak. So I was like, yeah, cool, let's just get the moon boot. And the moon boot helps so much for the pain, oh my word, but it doesn't help for the open wound that I have right there. I do have padding on it, but it doesn't really help for that, so I try to keep it open unless if I know I'm gonna keep it still for a while, I'll keep it open just to air dry, so whatever, you know, you don't need all the details. But why am I mentioning this except for the fact that I just want to share these things with you. Also, I do think I want to reflect just on the fact that last year I was very intentional with starting off of this year slowly and being more intentional with my routine and what I choose to focus on and spend my energy on. And this year, at the end of last year, the very end, I was kind of going to hit the ground running in 2026. That was the plan. And then this injury happened on New Year's Eve, and now I'm forced to go slower than I'd ever gone in the new year. And already it feels so stabilizing. And if you told me, if I did not have this injury and you told me, hey girl, take it slow, just let things flow this year, remember you said you wanted to take it slow, I would be like, when there is momentum, you gotta use it. So the momentum was just like, okay, well, now you cannot access it, so what are you gonna do? And apparently, what I do is I enjoy it, I surrender to it. And now I have a reason to, I have the time. I have the time to do some things I've been needing to do, but I've been putting off because there were so many other things that were higher up on the priority list, that now those other things I cannot do because they require me to use my foot more than I should. So it really does all work out. This video is a bit lower energy. Not because I love you any less or I'm any less happy to see you. It's just because at the same time I'm kind of like trying to chill my foot out. It is a little bit painful, but I'm very glad that I have somewhere I can show up for, because it gives me a reason to power on and push through. I just love you for what you mean to me, for my life. I know it's on YouTube and everything like this. It's a weird dynamic, but it really works for me. It really, really does. And as long as it works for you, I am grateful that we get to do this. And as soon as it doesn't work for you anymore, feel no obligation to stay. I want you to be happy. I want you to be learning, living, and loving. And I am just rambling now. I really am. My mind is a little bit over here. So I'm just gonna say bye. It's all love. It's all light. It's all fun. I was giggling my butt off earlier after I wrote this because I just had my own moment of like, wow. I'm just gonna say it revolves around my secret mission, and therefore I cannot tell you because it's a secret. So that buys me an out. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I will go now. for sure. Now, in my head, I'm already gone. Okay, bye. Talk to you so soon. I am filming. I'm refilming the question answer video tomorrow, by the way. So, just in case anybody was wondering about that. Ouchie, for real, I go now. Bye.